Hi, I'm Holly Sexton-Foy, and welcome to Issues and Insights on HCEC-TV. I am proud to be with the Bound Credit Union as the Financial Wellness Director, and also proud to share with you that so many Hardin County School students have received scholarships for higher education, and this is no different. Visit aboundcu.com to apply for $25,000 in scholarships starting in January, but you have to qualify to apply. You can also access free tools there as well. Again, aboundcu.com. Today we are moving over from talking to scholarships to voting. November's coming up very, very soon, and we're happy to have Hardin County Clerk Brian Smith with us to talk about some interesting things you've done in school, but also preparing for the election in
Absolutely.
November.
We're less than 40 days from General Election Day, and so we're very, very busy getting the plan executed.
Parade season over, or are you
Oh
in
no,
the
we
middle
still have
parade
parade
season?
season.
Okay.
Glendale Days is the last parade.
It's huge.
And then Vine Grove has one in November. It will be after the general election. But yeah, we love parade season. I've got
It's a good place to see you.
It's a great place to see you wave. We've been throwing cherry Laffy Taffy as the candy of the season. The clerk's office is throwing out this year.
I'm a fan.
Good.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
a good
a sweet
choice.
treat and a corny joke all in one. So.
That's funny. So tell me now, I know I haven't been keeping up so much. How long have you been serving as clerk?
So I was sworn in January. I'm finishing up my 9th month.
Oh my.
It has gone by very, very quickly, almost like a school year. Those first few days, you get some anxious excitement, and then it just, in a blur, you're done with the semester. So that's about what we feel like in the clerk's office.
So something you did I thought was really unique, but maybe it's not, is the student council election process that you helped facilitate with Hardin County Schools and the mock election. Is that something that you inherited, or is that something that you piloted?
This is something new that we've created. I've gotten to know the teachers at James T. Alton, and they're fabulous. They have a passion for civics and for teaching government and our role as active citizens. And so over a number of conversations we had with them, they told me they were standing up their student body and were recruiting kids to run for office there. And so I reached out to them and I said, well, let's run the election the same way we run the election for the adults. And so we printed up ballots with the kids' names on them. We used the same equipment that their parents will use in the November election. We went into J.T. Alton School. We set up the day before and went and executed the election the next day, which is what we do for Election Day. You have to set all the equipment up ahead of time. And the kids had so much fun with it. There is a lot of energy in a middle school.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And so I am so thankful of their principal, their teachers for buying in on this. The kids had a lot of fun. I got to sit with some kids at lunch and visit with them and hear what middle schoolers talk about over lunch. But they did a great job.
Why was that important for you and your team to do?
Well, one of the things that I came to understand about our community when I was running for county clerk and really studying our past elections, unfortunately, Hardin County votes, our voter participation rate is below state average. That bothers me. We are not below average in any other measure that I can find. We are a patriotic community. We're the home of Fort Knox. We have a high concentration of retirees, military retirees, and veterans. We need to do a better job of participating. And one of the ways that we can do that is instill in young kids the importance of an election, the importance of voting, and sort of demystify the process. You go in, you select your candidate, you cast your ballot, and at the end of the day, you find out who won. So I wanted to do that to prepare the next generation to be voters.
And that really aligns with Kentucky Department of Education standards for more hands-on activities, right? And that real world, just like with workforce development, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of that same vein of doing things that you're going to do adulting in the real world.
It's exciting to see that. I'm a parent of 4 kids, and when I see pictures of my elementary age child, and they're not sitting in desks and rows. Do they have desks? Yes. And do you need them? Absolutely. But when I see them on the floor and they're spreading out their papers or spreading out the project that they're working on, very tactile, very touch, very sensory oriented. I love that. That's how I learn. I'm a see, smell, touch, feel kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so I love that our schools are emphasizing that. I think our kids benefit from it. And that was one way for us to participate from the clerk's office.
I really like that you use the word demystifying. So just like in financial education and in civics, a lot of that is taking away any sort, or providing confidence in the process, right? And so what were you surprised by, or what were students like? What kind of feedback did you all share with each other about the process?
Well, it was interesting. So we got to speak to some of the classes as we were handing out the ballots. And in 2 classes, I got the same question from a kid. They raised their hand. They said, "I can't vote." I said, "Why can't you vote?"
Do you have a felony?
Well, yeah, and I said, and they said, "Well, I'm running for office." And I said, no. Here in the United States, if you're running for office, you get to vote for yourself. When you're running, you're telling the community that you think you're the best candidate for the office, and you should vote for the best candidate, even if it's yourself. I said, I ran for office, and I said, I'll let you in on a secret. I voted for myself. It's okay to do that. And so that was really cute, and I loved their honesty. We had election officers that we swore in, just like we did do for the polls in November, and they all had to take the same oath. And so I got to explain to them why it's important that they have never fought in a duel. And so if the viewers are unfamiliar with this, in Kentucky, you cannot serve in public office if you have ever fought in a duel with deadly weapons. Now, that is outdated language that dates back well over a century. As a history guy, I kind of like that because it's always a teaching moment for that. And so I told the kids water balloon fight was okay, Nerf guns is okay, but anything more deadly than that, and they would be excluded from public office in the future. So the kids kind of thought that was cute.
It makes us all going back to, it's like, have I? Lawn darts? No, maybe that was the 80s, right?
80s was the lawn darts, and yes, my family had a set of those. And I will tell you, unsupervised as a child, I did some dumb things with those things.
I think we all did. So yeah, not to go too far back, but yes. So thank you for sharing that and the process. Are there any plans for expansion? Because there's, right, like I was in there the other day getting my car tags taken care of and all that. I know that you're running a smooth operation, but I guess my question is, like, is it difficult to get out of the work that you do daily to participate in community and schools?
One of the things that the community told me they want is for us to be a little more engaged with the community. And it's a balancing act. I need to be in the office sometimes,
right,
but I also need to be representing the community. I need to be listening to the community. The best way to do that is to be in both places. I can't be in both places at the same time, but I can be in both places. I've got a wonderful team. And so I'm very confident in them and that they are operating under the values that I've instilled since I've taken office, and in the management style that I have. They've adapted to the way we're operating. And so I can step aside. And that's, quite frankly, a mark of leadership that I've learned, as I've learned from mentors that I have. And one of the things that they've impressed on me is if the only way it functions is for you to stand over top of somebody, then you really haven't instilled good leadership in your organization. So we've got a great team. I'm encouraging them. I'm taking some of them out of the office with me to really educate the public on what we do in the clerk's office.
Yeah, I like that empowerment piece, and we're finding that at Abound that culturally it improves the confidence in your workforce, right? And you're establishing trust, and also they feel like they're part of giving back.
Absolutely.
It's not just one face, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. I'm so happy to hear about it. When I saw on social the photos and, like you said, the students engaged in the process, I was just like, this is what it's all about.
It's really great. We've also been doing some voter registration drives. We've hit most of the high schools. We'll hit them all before the registration deadline. I want to capture those folks who are 17, about to turn 18. Because you can register at 17 as long as you'll be 18 on or before Election Day. And so we did that in the high schools and got them super engaged and excited. We teamed up with the Young Democrats at E-Town High School and the FFA at John Hardin. And it's kind of cool. There's a great energy in those schools, and it made me feel young and old at the same time.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I can relate. So for the November election, correct me, I've got to go back to my civics there. If someone is 17 and signed up, will they be ready if they turn 18 to vote in the November election?
Yes, as long as there is, the deadline to register is October 10th at 4 p.m.
Okay.
They can do it online, go voteky.com, or they can call the clerk's office. as long as you'll be 18 on or before Election Day, you can vote. And I'm excited. We'll have some new voters this November.
Absolutely, and it sounds like you're really doing a great job at the ground level. Well done to you and your team getting people excited, right, about voting or feeling like they're involved or it's for them.
Right. Well, I've been passionate about this. I volunteered for my first campaign when I was 17 years old. I wasn't even able to vote that year. It was 1988. And I learned a lot. Yeah. And it was exciting. And I found out, oh, there's other people who are interested in this kind of stuff too. But I think all of us as citizens, it's important for us to be engaged. This is a unique, Kentucky's very unique. There were only one of 3 states doing their statewide elections this year. We're what we call an off-year state. I think that makes us special. I think it allows for some national attention to what Kentucky does, for better or worse. People are probably starting to see, if you watch TV, you're probably starting to see ads in the gubernatorial race. You may not see ads for those down-ballot races, but those down-ballot races are important too. The Attorney General makes big decisions, and it defends Kentucky law in court. That's an important position. Our Ag Commissioner makes decisions that impact our family farms on a daily basis. That's incredibly important to our economy. It's incredibly important to Hardin County. We have a huge and bustling and prosperous ag community. Auditor and treasurer, they're watchdogs over our finances. So I encourage folks to start the process early. Investigate the candidates. Sample ballots are available on our website at the clerk's office. We'll be posting them on social media as well. But take a look at the candidates. Don't wait until you show up at the polling location and then on your phone try and scroll through. Who is this person? I've never heard of them. So we encourage people to have a plan for voting.
That's a great idea. So go voteky.com, but you mentioned social media. So where is the clerk's, like how is it listed or titled on social?
We're both Hardin County Clerk's Office on both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
We're most active on Facebook. Instagram's a different audience and a different mode, but we've had some good feedback there. So one of the things that has changed over the last few years, it was sort of a product of the pandemic. Instead of one election day, now there are 4. There are 3 days of early voting, no excuse necessary.
Loved it.
Yes.
Used it.
I'm
a big fan. It helped with my work schedule because I was out of town and couldn't vote on election day.
That's the feedback we're back. I've even heard from people who were skeptical of it at first, and they've grown to love it because they realize how convenient it is for them, for their family, for their work schedule. And it's actually not a new concept. In the first 2 versions of Kentucky's Constitution, we had 4 days of voting. It wasn't until that 3rd Constitution was adopted by the Commonwealth that went away. And so it's like the old phrase from the Bible, nothing is new under the sun. The 4 days of voting are here. They're here to stay. If you're a traditionalist and you want to vote on Election Day, I celebrate that. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. But I will tell you that the lines are a lot shorter on those early days. One of the things that I did, the first thing I did for our May primary was my first election. We expanded it. We doubled our capacity. So you can vote early at the clerk's office, but you can also vote early at Colvin Community Center. That helps our northern county voters, the folks in Radcliffe, Vine Grove, West Point, the folks who work at Fort Knox. If you work at Fort Knox, that Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you can zip over to Colvin at lunch and be right back.
Oh, excellent. I love that. And
Yes.
Let's talk about that really quick. We talked about voting days, and how many days? I know you've got a countdown clock, right? How many days?
As we're sitting here airing today, it's 39 days.
39 days, okay.
So
it'll be a little less.
It'll be a little less than when folks are watching that. But, this is about the time when the general public who regularly votes starts to engage, start to think about who they're going to vote for, starts to investigate candidates, and so we encourage people to do that.
And I need to do that, so I was just like, where do I go? So I'll check out your Instagram page, and not yours, but the Hardin County Clerk's Instagram page to make sure. I'm sure you'll share it, though, on your Instagram page.
Absolutely, we will. We will.
So I'll check out yours as well. In preparing for the election in November, are there polling location changes, anything different?
Yes, and that's important. The thing I'm most proud about is we're working towards expansion. We've actually ordered equipment to dramatically expand those. That equipment's not in yet, but we've gone from 10, which is what I inherited, and we'll have 12 this election, so a 20% increase. We've added the clerk's office as an election day site that hasn't been used except for once during the pandemic. So we'll be using that not only for early voting, but Election Day. We've added Colvin Community Center for Election Day as well. And so not only early day, but Election Day. That will help both E-Town and Radcliffe, where our population kind of surges during the workday in both locations. And so that will make for shorter lines, we think. The biggest change that I want the public to be aware of is we are stopping the use of Pritchard Community Center. I love Pritchard Community Center. I'm proud of it. It's a great gem in our community.
The remodel really helped.
Yes, absolutely. But it was not designed to have 6,000 people come in and out of that one narrow entrance and exit in a 12-hour period. And last November, we witnessed some things that were just unsafe. People were parking at the Dairy Queen and trying to walk across 62, which is not safe. I met with the mayor early in my term, and he and I had a conversation. And we both really agreed that moving it was the ideal solution. So we've moved it to Elizabethtown High School. So you can enter from either North Miles or North Mulberry. The parking is going to be a lot easier. And so if you forget and you show up at Pritchard Community Center, we're going to have some signage, but you'll be from Pritchard. There is a polling location that is either a 4-minute, a 5-minute, or a 6-minute drive from that location. So we're not reducing anything. We've actually added more locations for Elizabethtown, but Pritchard just isn't going to work for us moving forward.
I think that's a smart idea. You're right. That when you think about the egress there, and it's just this tiny little
and it's
little
only
spot on
really
62.
you can go left or right, but it's really only safe to go right, and that's just not very convenient for us.
I got it. I want to ask you about future plans, but before I move on from elections, are there anything else that you would like to share as far as preparing or helping people feel confident about knowing where they go?
Sure. We're going to be broadcasting the locations on our social media. They're going to be printed in the newspaper. We encourage people to look in advance, check that out, kind of figure out which location is best for them. We're going to be working with media partners to help remind people that their local radio station, their local newspaper have been really great in trying to educate the public. But make that plan in advance. Don't wait until 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Election Day to try and figure out where you're going to vote. Plan ahead.
You're speaking to me because I just moved from one side, not just, but it's been a year. So I moved from one side of Elizabethtown to the other side of Elizabethtown, and now I'm just like, I'm not real sure.
Well, the nice thing about our locations,
I need to double check that.
The nice thing about the locations, any registered voter in Hardin County can go to any of the locations. It's not like it was back in the day when you had your precinct and you were only allowed to vote there. Some people have asked to go back to that model. There are two biggest impediments to that. One is the amount of equipment it would take, and two, a lot of those sites that we used to use are not fully accessible. And I'm passionate about accessibility. We have to comply with strict federal and state laws that are just for polling locations. So a building could be ADA compliant. Some of our small rural churches met the ADA compliance when they were constructed, but they don't meet the compliance for a voting location. So that's why we can't use some of those. They're great assets in our community. They just can't be used for voting. The other thing that has been on the books for a number of years, there are 6 days of absentee voting that take place in the clerk's office.
Got it.
So if somebody has a mobility issue, an accessibility issue, age, illness, disability, surgery planned, pregnant in the third trimester, those kinds of issues that may make it difficult for you to stand in line, you come into the clerk's office and you will have no wait. We don't get a lot of folks who take us up on that. In the primary, we had about 20 a day who took us up on that. So you come in, I promise you won't have to wait more than 5 minutes. We have chairs set up for you, so if a mobility issue is an issue, we want to take care of you. I want to make sure those folks who it's really difficult for them to stand in line, we're going to take good care of them.
Yeah, and I would think even caregivers too. It's hard to get away.
Absolutely.
To take care of that. So, no, I like how accessible that is. I have one more question, and it's about election officials. I think that's what they're called. Is
yes.
When you go in. How's the volume on that? Do you need volunteers? How do people volunteer to be an election
absolutely.
official?
They can go to the One Shop website, govoteky.com, or they can call the clerk's office. We're about where we need for this election. We're continuing to recruit people. I asked them, you may be assigned as an alternate, but in the May primary, we used almost every alternate on election day.
Oh my.
Sometimes our poll workers, our election officers, that term is used interchangeably. They get sick, something happens, and they can't make it. So we rely on those alternates. We call them volunteers, but they do get paid. It's $25 for the 2-hour training and $125 to work on election day. So it's $150. And I promise you will never work harder for less money, but you'll also never have more fun. You get to see all of your neighbors and your friends, and you get to help execute the democratic process here in Hardin County.
I love that there's an official training for it. There's so little I know. I've known a handful of people when I walk in who've been poll workers or election officials, but I didn't know about the process. So
Yeah,
that's really
and the training
interesting.
is kind of keep it low key and fun and interesting. The training is required. It's required to be 2 hours. We have 3 different schedulings of that. So depending on, we have a weekday morning, a weekday afternoon, and an evening. So depending on your work schedule or other schedule, we can accommodate you, get you trained, to make sure you feel confident on election day.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. That was really helpful. I learned a lot. Again, going way back to civics, World Civ, and like how much I paid attention and how much I didn't. So don't judge me.
No.
So what are some future plans you're excited about? Anything you're thinking about that you can share
Sure.
today?
So in the clerk's office, I think most of the community knows that I promised to expand vehicle registration. There used to be a vehicle registration office in Radcliffe. It was there for decades. It was closed, and my commitment is to reopen that. I have reached an agreement, a verbal agreement with a partner up in Radcliffe, and so we'll be announcing very, very soon that location. We're just working out the written lease details, and once that's signed and approved by both entities, we'll have that announcement. That vehicle registration, we're not the only county. There are about 10 other counties, some of them much smaller than ours, that have branch offices. Our population distribution in Hardin County is unique. We're the 4th largest county by area, the 6th largest by population. We have a lot of folks who go to work every day at Fort Knox. It is really hard for them to come to Elizabethtown to get their vehicle renewed and be back to work at lunch, on their lunch break. We'll be able to do that in Radcliffe. So I'm excited about that. More to come.
I just heard cheers from Radcliffe, so
Yes.
I know that was
They're excited.
That was very important for them, and they are expanding and changing so much too.
It's a
What's happening
growing,
in Red
thriving
Bar,
community.
all that.
They're seeing some spinoff from Blue Oval SK that's going on in Glendale. We've seen a lot of traffic in our office, everything from people changing their vehicle registration to here in Kentucky to issuing marriage licenses to people who met and fell in love with somebody who's working out there. So that's been kind of interesting. Yes. The marriage license issuance in the clerk's office is always the most interesting stories.
Yeah.
Because it's always fun how people met and fall in love, and when they're walking in, you can always tell they're there for a marriage license because they're the happiest ones to be there.
And I will compliment the person on your staff. I wish I remembered her name, but very pleasant to work with.
They always.
I was
enjoy
like,
it.
"Are you as excited as my mom?" Like, she was very
We
pleasant
love it. We actually have
congratulatory.
the clerk does not perform weddings, so please don't ask.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but we do have magistrates who are available. They prefer that you all schedule that in advance. But we have people who get married in the clerk's office with the historic deed books that we have in our room there as their background, and sometimes I'll end up being their official wedding photographer. I'll grab the bride's cell phone, and I'm sitting there taking pictures of it. It's kind of exciting.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that as a capacity. I mean, I know it happens there. I've picked up a license, but I didn't know that
It happens right there.
Oh, very
So.
cool. What a great way to go out on the top of the cob on
Absolutely.
a high end. Excellent. Well, govoteky.com
Correct.
is where to go to prepare for the November elections, and stay tuned on Facebook and Instagram, Hardin County Clerk on those, and then you'll be on radio, you'll be on, I'm sure, podcasts.
People
you'll
will
be
be
on
sick of hearing me lecturing them to get out and vote, but they can reduce that if they actually get out and vote. You'll see
Excellent.
me a little less.
All right. Well, looking forward to November, and I'm going to go prep.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate Holly. I appreciate Abound sponsoring this segment and allowing us to share this information.
Sure thing. And go vote.
Go vote Hardin County.
Hardin County.